Week 6 was loaded with a ton of good games. 5 of the 7 matchups decided by less than 10 points. And that's not even counting the one decided by 10 points. So a lot of close games this week. And one was, in the largest margin, decided by 13. So 13 points was our largest margin. And that was TMC Sportsbook. So 2 teams that we expected to be a close game. Let's break down all the Week 6 action as the playoffs are right around the corner. Welcome to the Postgame show. I'm Joey. God, everyone changes order every week. The names get funner and funner. I don't know if that's a word. Mike, Darren, Sean, Justin, and Brendan. I'm Joey. Tyler behind the camera, and the weekly rebound as always. I'm trying to make them laugh, so we'll give him a shout out. I did good last week with my Radzinski joke. Let's see if he watches. We'll know by Facebook around Tuesday evening if he watches or not. So stay tuned for that. Let's start with so many good games. Where to start, guys? We'll start with the game of the week. Team Moose and Shocker City, the 2 undefeated teams. 74-66 Shocker City. Terrell Vargas made his return, and no Brad Seaman, notably for Team Moose. But a lot happened in that game. Too much Shocker City, too much Mike Davis and Carmine Santarelli, I know from what I saw. But what did you guys see as the last 2 undefeated squared off?
Yeah, that was a really fun game to watch and definitely lived up to the name Game of the Week. It was everything we expected and maybe even more. Team Moose was missing a couple of their key players, but they still battled with 5 and were never out of the game. Every time they made it maybe like a 6-point game, Shocker City would hit a big shot and put them away. But it was a lot of fun to watch.
That's it? Anything else for the Game of the Week? No, nothing?
I'm obviously a little newcomer here.
Yep.
This is my first time really seeing both these teams in action, and just from my perspective, Team Moose definitely not as deep as Shocker City. Shocker City, they have Mike Davis, the return of Terrell Vargas, as you said.
Yep.
Both the Santarellis, they just look like they have a lot more depth to their team, and fairly equal matchup, but at some point, if you have 5 guys, it's going to get to you.
And another thing to add is Shocker City's defense really played as if played like Team Moose type defense, and they really turned it up. And if they play like that week in and week out, especially in the playoffs, they're going to be scary.
Yep, and speaking of defense, not too many high scores this week, showing the evenness in the matchups, but let's go to the other matchup of top 4, 5, 6 teams in the league. The Throne and the Rim Breakers. The Rim Breakers get the win, so now they improved to 5-1, and the Throne now have 2 losses after that game. 69-66 the final as the Rim Breakers come away with the win. I was a little busy on Court 1 during that time, but what did the Rim Breakers do that separated themselves from the Throne this week?
Well, the Throne was basically leading most of the game. It was mostly back and forth, but the Rim Breakers, the last few minutes of the game, they completely took over. Joe McLeese and Kevin DeBall led the way, 35 points all combined, and they just out-rebounded them, played really good defense, and we got that big win to make up for that Shocker City loss.
Exactly. Now they're ahead in the standings of the Throne, and they have that tiebreaker. So as some of the better teams start to square off in this week, next week, and the following week, that's, of course everyone makes the playoffs, and what these games are a good test, and then that tiebreaker, which is going to be huge if they finish with the same record. Anything else from Rim Breakers, Throne?
Yeah, the Throne was missing Russ Payton in that game, and that could have been a key factor. But both teams were relentless. This was a physical, hard-fought, chippy game, and another really fun and exciting matchup to maybe see in the playoffs.
All right, I don't even know where to go. Someone name a team that we didn't get to yet.
Nothing easy.
Sweet. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm just going to ignore that. But we have to do it eventually. Nothing easy in dinner served. A battle of 1 and 4 teams, unfortunately. But nothing easy with the win. 75-71. Have at it. What did Nothing Easy do to get that win this week and get that second win?
Another back and forth game, and every time dinner served tried to make a little run. Nothing Easy was right there at Tommy Buck, especially our buddy Mike Slattery over
Banks
here.
are open.
15 points putting that bank 3, but you guys had a lot of timely hoops, so that was big for them.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of key contributors from like Joe Salvatore, Brian Lilly.
Yep.
Capo really had a big game, and yeah, it was another really, really chippy game that almost got away from us, but we did what we had to do and took care of business.
In an attempt to make these guys laugh, Slattery's on pace for a Stucky show. It is very close to a Stucky takeover by Mike Slattery. Shout out Stucky for those of you that have seen the past 2 seasons post games. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, but great analysis from Slats over there. He's done. Throw the paper. He's out. All right, let's get to Run TMC and Sportslook. the largest margin, as I mentioned, of Week 6. Run TMC with the win, improves to 5-1, is now one of 3 teams with 1 loss, if my math is correct. And Sportsbook falls to 2-4. 30-27, I believe, at the half. A little sluggish, kind of blew it open in the third, but what impressed you from TMC this week? We had the full team, which was nice. So,
yeah, you guys bounced back from last week. Reggie Stewart had 24, Eric Singleton, another big game. You just proved you have so many good players, and the depth is really going to help out in the long run.
Yeah, and even when it's not going super well, when everything's not clicking, still able to grind one out. Anyone else on that one?
Yeah, I think it was more, no offense to you guys, Sportslook had a terrible game, 10% from the 3. One of their players even got ejected out of the whole building. But, on the bright side, Tyrell Holmes, his first game, 25 points, 61% from the field. He played a great game, but you guys outplayed them, a little sluggish, one of your lowest scoring games, but, you guys came out on top.
Tyrell Holmes' second game of the season. First game that he had stats for it, that was on my end. But he's played in other seasons, so he's very accustomed to the league in that sense. Blue Devils, above the rim. 75-70, Blue Devils get their second win. That was close too. A couple possessions there. I believe above the rim had a chance to tie it. We're down 3 with the ball in the closing seconds of that one. But who on the Blue Devils really stood out?
Steve Eccles. Steve Eccles, the leader of the team, finished with 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Really vocal leader. Blue Devils aren't that bad of a team. If they could just get on the same page and consistently play like that, their record would be way better than what it is now.
Tough schedule for them too.
No, taken away from above the rim. I mean, they've been not really in many games this year, and they really battled to the end. Rousseau Boyd had 23 points, really kept them in there. They were there for the last few whistles, and then got away from them at the end. But overall, good effort.
Another really good game to kick off the night. Young Kings and Head Honchos. Young Kings come all the way back. Who was I talking to? Sean, was it a 23-3 run?
Yeah.
From that third into the fourth quarter for them to retake the lead and then ultimately come away with the win. 80-75, like I talked about, the Young Kings now have 2 wins. So we're starting to have a couple teams there with 2 wins and then a couple teams at the top with 1 or 2 losses. And Shocker City now the lone undefeated. But Eddie Whitman hitting shots. He's been one of the better shooters this season through 6 games. Who else on the Young Kings helped during that run to put away the Head Honchos?
Marquise Davis made his season debut today with 21 points. Miles Raymond has been a big part of their offense all season. And like you were saying before, these wins are important. They could help in the long run with tiebreakers, records. So it was a big win for the Young Kings today, and they showed they have resiliency. They came back, 23-3 run, so that was impressive.
Yeah, also it shows how much depth goes a long way in this league. With that third scorer, that third option for the Young Kings, you see there was good ball movement, and they came away with the W this time. 2 players scoring over 20. Miles Raymond, 18 points and 14 rebounds. Let's not forget about him.
He's been a double-double machine quietly so far this season. Anything down there stuck you want to comment on the next game? No?
All good. Head Honchos only shot 23%, so they didn't shoot too well today.
Yeah, wasn't Brett Cody's best game. Want to not butcher his name. Danny Bartoli had a very good game for the Head Honchos. It's definitely a bright spot, but as I said before, just a lot of teams have a lot of depth in this league, and the ones that don't, it really shows tonight.
Danny was unconscious today too, hitting shots, getting to the hoop and finishing, so good game for him, even in the loss. Nick Strong in the nightcap over here on court 1 finishes off Jay's trays and fadeaways, 68-58. They're now 4-2, Nick Strong, and they're lurking with those other teams right behind the rim breakers. And the Throne. They now have the same record as the Throne at 4-2. So Nick Strong now with their 6 guys, starting to figure out some rotations, have some depth, and they're not as tired. But what did they do today against Jay's trays and fadeaways? No,
I was playing.
oh, sorry, Stucky was busy.
Well, the game was based on defense, I would say, for both teams. We'll see Nick Strong, like you said, the depth definitely works. Ryan Florentine, his second game back, his 15 points definitely helped in the long run. So that team with more depth, one of the more underrated top teams in the league, because they've been up and down, they haven't been consistent. But with Ryan Florentine back, let's see how they do going here on out.
All right, so I'll sum it up for that one. Okay, so quickly we're going to look ahead to Week 7. Slats can start with this one. So 4 of the top 6 teams square off next week. TMC and Moose, Throne, and Shocker City. So those are going to be 2 really good games. You can pick either game. and kind of give me your key to one of those games. So again, TMC, Team Moose, the Throne, and Shocker City. A key, something you're looking for, a player, anything about either of those games.
I'm looking forward to TMC Moose, and I think Moose is going to win that game. I think that they're going to be coming back angry. I think they're going to have their full roster, and I think they might just be too much to handle defensively. Sorry.
I'm going to go. I think
That's what I
Reggie
get.
Stewart is going to have a breakout game,
Yep.
and you guys will take home the W, and Moose will get their second loss for the season.
Okay. So, all right, one each. Okay, you want to do Throne Shocker?
Yeah, I think
Cool.
Shocker's going to stay undefeated. They look great today defensively. 2 weeks ago, they put up 123 points, so they're playing well on both sides of the ball. So I want to see what they can do next week.
And I'm going to cut you off really quick. So if the Throne does lose next week, that's a 3-loss Throne team. And when we start getting in seeding, we see a lot of the 6-3 teams are between 5, 6, 7, some in that range. And then it's a tiebreaker deal, so they could be, they're a good team, obviously, and they could be somewhere in that 5, 6, 7 range. Again, top 2 seeds get a bye, so they're probably out of that range with their 2 losses to get a bye. But now they're if they do lose, which didn't happen yet, they're now in range to be lower than they probably should be, depending on what you think of them. But key to either of those games, TMC Moose, Throne, and Shocker.
Yeah, I think Throne is going to come out really hungry. Shocker City maybe riding a little bit of a high, but I mean they haven't lost yet this season, so I think the Throne, I don't know, like they're just going to come out with hunger, and we'll see how they do with Russ Payton back. Hopefully.
We'll see how Team Moose responds after that loss, and I'm looking forward to Reggie Stewart, see what he does against you guys, and against the Moves. So it'll be big for you guys.
For sure. And if the Throne does beat Shocker, just to play the other side, then Rim beat Throne. Throne beat Shocker. Shocker beat Rim. There we go.
It's a cycle.
It turns into a messy situation in the standings. 3 weeks left before the playoffs. Before we get to all that playoff breakdown. Good job today, guys. Week 6 in the books. Stay tuned for a podcast, Power Rankings, which there should be a lot of movement when good teams face off, when even teams face off. That's what happens. Top plays. We had some standout plays, some dunks, as always, you're going to want to see, and stats and articles on the website. Check all that out, thelegacyleagues.com. For the guys, I'm Joey. Week 7, right around the corner. Some good matchups coming up here from InSports.